Have you noticed how your messages are always either a little too sharp or a little too emotional, and you still end up rewriting them 10 times before you hit send? I'm Akash, trying to make astrology simple for you. When I see that mix of men subkadlunga energy, plus, I hope they didn't misunderstand me anxiety, I immediately think of Mars in the third house, with retrograde Venus influencing that same zone. Because the third house in Vedic astrology is the area of daily effort, courage, communication, siblings and cousins, short trips, and all those practical, I'll handle it skills. Mars here is like giving a soldier a bike, a phone, and a to-do list. So in daily life, with Mars in the third, I am that person who sends the difficult email, makes the awkward phone call, goes alone to get work done, handles errands and dirty work without endless complaining. Courier missing? Bank problem? Service center staff giving attitude? Very often I'm the one who says, "Give it to me, I'll handle it." That's pure third house Mars. Direct, efficient, not scared of friction. Now add retrograde Venus energy on top of this same house, and the story becomes more interesting. Venus is about relationships, charm, tone, softness, love, attraction, liking and being liked, beauty, in words, in style, in behavior. Retrograde turns that energy inward and backward. I replay old conversations in my head. I reread old chats. I question, did I sound rude? Did I overshare? Was I too cold? Too dramatic? So imagine this. Someone at work messes up. Mars in third wakes up instantly. I'm going to write a clear, strong message and sort this out. You open WhatsApp or email and your fingers fly. The first draft is sharp, no nonsense, practical. Then retrograde Venus walks in. Wait, is this too harsh? What if they feel bad? What if it spoils the relationship? Should I add please here? Maybe a smiley? Maybe soften this sentence? You edit. You add some politeness. You remove one hard line. You read again. You tweak again. Finally, you send. Then you stare at the message status. You wonder how it sounded in their head. You pick up the phone, put it down, pick it up again. On the outside, you're the one who gets things done. On the inside, you're constantly balancing. I need to be firm, and I don't want to damage the connection. With siblings and cousins, this combo is even more obvious. Mars in third gives childhood fights, arguments, competition. A lot of "tu chup rahe, tu hamesha aise karta hai" moments. Venus retrograde adds later guilt, late-night overthinking, going back to old texts, wanting to patch up but not always knowing how. So you might argue hard in the moment, say things you actually mean but a bit too sharply, then later scroll up the chat and think, maybe I went too far. Sometimes you'll send a meme later to lighten the mood, because you don't know how to say sorry directly. That's Mars plus retro Venus in the third, fighting and then flirting with the same people. In love and dating, this shows up very clearly in texting style. You can initiate boldly, ask someone out, take the lead in conversation, say what others are scared to say. But then, after sending, you start analyzing. Was that too much? Did I come on too strong? Should I have waited before replying? Should I have played it cooler? You may even get stuck in going back to old chats with an ex or old crush, rereading what they wrote, re-feeling old emotions, drafting a new message and not sending it, or actually sending a "hey, long time" after weeks of thinking about it. Mars gives the urge to act. Retrograde Venus makes you loop emotionally around that action. The same thing happens in practical life. Mars in third says, I'll go to the bank, I'll talk to the manager, I'll push for a solution. Venus retrograde says, be careful how you talk, read their tone, don't make it ugly, try to keep things sweet if possible. So you often play both roles, the tough negotiator and the one who then tries to smooth it out. If I have this combination in my chart, I'm not just a doer. I'm a doer with a sensitive heart. That can feel like a problem sometimes. Why do I react so fast and then feel so much? Why do I send strong messages and then overthink them to death? But actually, it's a potential strength. When this energy matures, I can become someone who speaks up when others stay silent, someone who handles difficult tasks without completely crushing people, someone who can say the hard thing in a human way. To get there, I'd make a few small deals with myself. If I'm about to send a fiery text or mail, I'd write my first draft fully, let Mars speak. Then I'd ask one question before editing. What is my actual goal here? To solve the problem or to release my frustration? If the goal is to solve, I let Venus retrograde soften just enough to keep the message clear and humane. If I notice myself over-editing, changing the same sentence 10 times, adding and deleting emojis, worrying more about approval than truth, I gently remind myself, it's okay if not everyone likes my tone all the time. I'm allowed to be honest as long as I'm not cruel. That keeps Mars alive and Venus from becoming a prisoner of fear. In close relationships, I'd slowly move from fight plus meme later towards fight plus simple, sincere follow-up. Something like, hey, I got angry earlier, but I care about you. I just want us to understand each other better. It doesn't have to be poetic. It just has to be real. Mars in the third gives me the courage to initiate that message. Retrograde Venus gives me the emotional depth to mean it. So if your life feels like you're always the one handling tough calls and errands, your words are strong, but your heart is soft. Your chats and DMs are a mix of confidence and overthinking. You might be living a Mars in third plus retrograde Venus on third story. You're not too much. You're wired to act and wired to feel, both through the same channel, your communication. Once you learn to balance that fire and softness, your voice becomes something very rare. Strong and sensitive, direct and artistic, brave and aware of how it lands. If you want to see whether Mars is really in your third house and how retrograde Venus is coloring your messages, courage, and daily actions, visit astrology.com for instant astrology.